There are stories that connect us to ourselves and to each other. These stories reveal who we are and show us the many vivid colors of our truth. Welcome to Soul Wanderings, where we raise spiritual awareness and foster connections through these shared stories and personal experiences. Now, exclusively on KGRA Digital Broadcasting, your hosts, AJ and Natalie.
Hi, here we are again, another Wednesday. I'm AJ.
And I'm Natalie.
And we are your hosts of Soul Wanderings. And I'm so happy that is the case. What about you?
Oh, I am. I was looking forward to the show. Like, the show must be going Wednesday night.
Yes.
I love it. Although I have to say, it's just so different not being in the studio with you.
Yeah, we're not in the studio tonight, and that's great. Either way, the show goes on, and it doesn't matter the background, it just matters that we're here.
That's right.
I do want to give a shout out to Bill for hosting. I guess he is hosting, producing our show tonight. Thank you. I like to recognize that effort. So good. So yeah, here we are, Wednesday night. We are going to wander for sure. We have a brand new guest. Like I said, this whole next few months, they're all brand new guests. So good. And then I think we're going to bring back some past guests who are doing new things.
That's exciting too.
They're asking to come back. So let's do it.
Look at how it goes. Soul Wandering's doing so great, they want to come back.
Yes, we love the Wanderings. We hope you all are joining us on one of KGRA Digital Broadcasting's platforms. That would be on X, Facebook, or Rumble. You also can hang out at the best platform, live.kgradb.com. Just click on the watch now. You guys can hang out there in the chat on any of the platforms. I'm hanging out in all of them. I try to interact with you as much as possible, but also giving our guests full attention. That does help. But I appreciate our wanders, so I want to be with you too.
Right.
If you haven't become a member of KGRA yet, support the station and support the show. Use our promo code WANDERER, and that way you can receive 30% off your monthly or annual memberships. We love saving the money. Cha-ching. Yes. How have you been, Natalie?
Well, I tell you, it's been a little bit of a week.
It has been a week for you.
Yeah, it has been a week. So I was saying earlier, I was texting with you earlier, just like, about being a human wilderness guide, which is my favorite title. That's what I refer to myself with my coaching business. One of my titles is human wilderness guide. And I've been in my wilderness a little bit. I don't have any like human children. So my children are all animals and the people that I attend to. But one of my cats decided, well, she just is almost 19 and she was at the end of life. And I just knew that I was going to do like hospice with her, that I wanted to just go all the way with her. I tend to just know what the animal kind of is interested in, and she just wasn't interested in dying in a vet office. So that was, I have to tell you, there is this book years ago that I got that's called Getting Comfortable with Uncertainty. And I had no idea that lovely cat was going to last as long and stay in her body as long as she did. I believe that she wrung every breath and every heartbeat out of that little body of hers, just taking everything she could. And I feel like she wanted to just stay as long as she wanted as could with me,
Mhm.
and me with her. So that was today that I said goodbye. And then it's really something to we've talked about death and dying before, and to be there with the process. It's one of our most natural things to do is die, but in our modern society, I really feel like we've just sort of disconnected with it, and that was evident. Even though I talk about grief all the time, and that is a conversation that includes how people
Mhm.
die and the process of that, it was just it still is quite an experience to be actually going through it. So I am very proud of myself, of like maintaining and just being in the experience. So I love
Mhm.
that. And reconnect. I feel like I reconnected. I've remembered through this process how often I had actually been around when people were dying, and that was more of times than I like just remember on a regular basis. And I was like, whoa, wow. And then I can
Yeah.
bring that energy to the groups that I do and affirm how difficult it can be to watch your loved one just go through that process, that part of the journey.
Well,
And
first of all, I'm proud of you too.
I think, thanks.
It's a big deal. I remember when Bill came to visit, and it was on a Wednesday, and my who I had for 16 years, passed. And it was that same day, and it was a show night. And I remember it was so hard, but I'm like, you make a choice, right? Life
Mhm.
still goes on and you do the things. But I'm really glad that you're here.
I'm glad to be here.
On the topic of death and dying, we talk about it often, like you said. And I think we brought it up last week a little bit. We were talking about the consciousness crystal.
Right.
But in that same conversation that I don't feel like we had on air was about the dying process, how people get so uncomfortable with that, with the dying, and they'll do anything to make the person or animal um, not suffer anymore, more so because they're suffering, right?
Hmm.
Because you can't stop the process of dying.
Mm-mm.
The body dies regardless. And sometimes they'll do like every last ditch effort to
Hmm.
keep the body here for their own reasons, instead of
Yes.
surrender that we all get to let go at the end of this journey. And that is part of the beautiful transition we get to go through. But we do all of these things to make us less uncomfortable. And I mean, to a certain degree, that's wonderful, right? We don't want our person or our pet to suffer, but people go through extremes to keep the person here. And you had a really lovely, beautiful balance with your fur baby, that you didn't force the body to stay longer, just made her comfortable because you knew that it was time. And I think that takes a lot of intuition and guidance to know the difference.
Yeah, and I'm very fortunate that I'm surrounded by lovely people that also help guide me, so I can have good sounding boards and some intuitively gifted
Mhm.
people that just give me some insight. And um, it's really so to the audience and people that are listening, like pay attention to who is there to guide, and who are like, so if you think about maybe having like a board of directors, or where you
Mhm.
go and you can check in with people that have a sense, that have tuned into their own gifts. And I'm really blessed to have several people around me that were supporting me and feeding me lovely information. Um, so it's nice when people can like tune in to the other realms that I don't necessarily see as much. And they're like, okay, here's a little insight. And I'm like, okay, thank you for that nugget, that tidbit of information. I'm going to walk a little bit more confidently because of those things. And that was
Mhm.
helpful for
Yeah,
me.
you're surrounded by people who really care.
Mm. And I
So
love them so much.
Natalie Nugget, through this week, what have you learned from this experience that someone else could take with them.
So there really is, we are like objects moving through space, or consider yourself like fish in the ocean or something like that. So there is a much bigger world, and we each have our place in it, and our bodies take up a certain amount of space, and with that space we have a particular role to play. And so this is what I was thinking um, earlier. This is kind of a football analogy, but it's like you've got your place on the team, and you're in your particular game, and you've got your position to play, and you got to play the heck out of that position. And so, and when you do that, no one position, like on a sports team or something like that, is really more important than the other. It sometimes appears to be, but the reality is every position has its own energy to do. And so um, that is kind of my nugget to say, do the best, but we are just one aspect of a much bigger world. And so be confident and humble about your position to play. And so what I really learned through this process was, because I thought if I were to guess when the time that she was going to depart that body was going to be, I would have lost every bet that I'd placed on it, because she went at her time, which was a lot
Mhm.
longer than I thought. So we're not in control. And that is really scary. So
Yeah.
that's sort of that is the wisdom that I gained. But then knowing that it's a very loving and supporting universe. And so not being in control, you actually kind of get out of the way and you go with the
Mhm.
flow. And there is something really wonderful about being in the flow versus trying to control the flow.
Oh, yeah. You cannot swim upstream.
No, so there's a lot.
I mean, you could try. It's very exhausting. I don't recommend.
And it's uncomfortable when you are like not okay with where you are, like what's
Mhm.
happening in it. But there's this pause, like when this many throughout the years, I've learned a lot about this concept of acceptance. Now, acceptance, a lot of times people will think acceptance means I just resign, it's going to be like this way, and I just give up, throw my hands up, and I don't interact. And that's not the way I see acceptance at all. See acceptance as, okay, I am right here in this situation, and it's okay to even be not okay with it. It's okay to be uncomfortable. And the more that you are really in acceptance of a position, and this comes when a lot of times we just go around and there's no reason to just be, okay, in this moment, I need to be in acceptance. In this moment, it doesn't really flow like that. But there are some times when we're challenged as an individual, that acceptance comes into play, that says, okay, I'm exactly here where I am, and take the breath and just check in.
Yeah.
And it's okay and I find that it's so much easier. Not so much easier, but it does relieve a lot of the tension when you just lean in and go,
Yeah.
okay, here I am. I'm really not okay, but it's okay that I'm not okay. And I'm going to find my way through, and mindful of the mental conversation, because we are not nice. But it
No,
makes it a lot easier when you don't cut your legs out from underneath you, and you don't
absolutely.
undermine your own self, and just be your supporting other in your
Right.
head.
Right. Or a lot of people avoid, I've noticed.
Yeah.
They'll like check out through substances or I'm so busy. I have so much to do. And
Hmm.
then they will find like all of these opportunities to be busy.
Yes. I must get distracted.
Mhm. Yeah, because getting uncomfortable is uncomfortable.
Right.
Mhm.
And it's okay that this is not about being uncomfortable all the time.
Mhm.
This is about, meet life where it is, and
Yeah.
as it meets you. And there's something so profound that I have learned through this concept of getting comfortable with the uncertainty of life.
Yeah. And it will be on a repeat lesson.
Yes,
You
it
don't just
will.
learn it once and you know.
No, but what I can tell you is if you have a regular practice of leaning in versus leaning out, you actually
Mhm.
get better at it.
Absolutely. It's just like the muscle I talk about, just like strengthening those muscles and when you're having the experience on repeat, even though it looks different, but it's the same lesson, you have an opportunity to get stronger.
Yes. And so we do, definitely, it's muscle building. You
Mhm.
build whatever muscle you do on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And so be mindful.
Yes, be mindful.
How are
Be-
you?
I'm doing well. Like there's some curveballs being thrown my way, and I'm like, oh yeah, let's play ball. I'm ready. Like this year, we were talking about it with Bill before the show. This year is going to be a whole lot of everything for a lot of us, if not all of us. There's a lot of things going on in the world, but like within ourselves too. I think that the everything that's been taking place is like calling us to this moment, to this here and now, right? And so like this is the year for cleanup, in my opinion. Like if you've got stuff to take care of, now is the time. And I see it all over. I'm experiencing it myself. um, but having that knowing and that understanding makes it a little easier. Doesn't mean it's not challenging. It's just, it's like the tools in the toolbox we talked about. And so just having those tools and that awareness is really helpful. Um, I'm ready, whatever that looks like. Let's just do the thing. It's the uncertainty that really gets to me. Like, I just need to know a little more information so I can make an informed decision. It's the not knowing that is just, a thing. So, yeah, like this week has been, I can't complain. I really can't. And I've been creating a lot and resting a lot because I've been able to listen to my body and do the things I need to do, which has been nice that the time has allowed that. And yeah, it's just been good. I'm really excited for tonight's guest though, because of a lot of reasons. Like she's doing a lot of really cool things, but one of my favorite topics are NDEs and SDEs, and she's experienced both. She also is an aura reader, like she sees auras. And it's like,
What?
yeah,
That's cool. Go to
I think
you.
it's yeah, yay. We have things in common, and I like that because I love to hear other people's experiences. And then what she did with those experiences and how she's living her life now. Like, right, I had my NDE and my whole life shifted, and I went a complete different direction when I never saw it coming. Like, I would have never thought I'd be doing the things I'm doing now, all helping people heal through trauma and having a spiritual healing center, a metaphysical retail shop, and this show, and like all the things, like never on my radar. But I'm supposed to be here. And I know that because of the experience I went through. And regardless, like her experience is different than mine. She knows she's supposed to be doing what she's doing, and she's out there doing the things. Like she's helping people create new realities from their experiences and working through their fear and learning how to manifest and doing all these powerful things that we all are capable of doing. And the reminders are nice to have. So it'll be really neat to have her on.
I find the conversation with about manifestation so much more interesting these days, given my experience through human design and a different sort of look at manifestation. So I look forward to hearing how that, you know, just that methodology she has about manifestation
Mhm.
and empowerment. Empowerment. I'm all about the empowerment.
Yeah, I think she'll teach us a lot, and I'm really excited about that. When you talk about manifestation, what did you learn? What do you know from your experience in human design and things like that?
So with the human design, so the bulk of the planets being generators, knowing that we that we live to respond. And so it leans a lot into the teachings and the things that I've listened to with the teachings of like Abraham Hicks, where it says you have this idea and you have what you want and you give that over to the universe to bring it to you.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the way I resonate with manifestation, that is like, watch for it to show up outside of you, but you don't have to work at it as much as I used to think you did.
Mm-hmm.
And the universe can always deliver it in a higher and better form than you could ever form it for yourself. But then when it shows up, it generally doesn't show up the way that you want to. And then you've got to release all the obstacles that are keeping you from that higher
Yeah.
state of being. And so I
Mm-hmm.
think that a lot of times people get shocked because manifestation comes first with obstacles and growth and growing pains, and you drop some things out of your life that don't serve you anymore, that get in the way. And
Mm-hmm.
that's one thing I find that I've seen with people, that they were like, whoa, I wasn't ready for that. It was supposed to be easy breezy. Please make it painless. And it's
Yeah.
like, uh,
Nothing worth having comes easy, they say.
and you have to do some changing for it to be different
Mm-hmm.
anyway. So that's what I find is the fine print with manifestation. Okay, I did this little package and I want this thing to show up.
Yeah.
And the universe says, okay.
And I think it's so important to be extremely clear when you're manifesting. Don't just say, I want $1 million, because that can show up in a whole bunch of different ways, and not just the $1 million, like all of the things that come with that. Just, you have to be very clear, like maybe $1 million without and with this. You know what I mean?
Well, and then the other thing is like, okay, I want $1 million. Well, there's some cleanup that, like, if you have let's see, your relationship with money has to be firmed up. And
Mhm.
if you've got to, like, you could get $1 million and lose $1 million. So there's kind of like different things
Right.
like that says, oh, what, pay attention. Here
Yes.
comes the growth.
Right. And actually, I believe that Nicole will be sharing with us about that, about money also.
I'm excited to hear those types of things. It's like, for money, it's always
Mhm.
nice to get better ideas on how to increase your abundance.
Right. And abundance comes in so many ways,
Hmm.
not just with the paper
No.
or digital, however things are going on these days.
Can we
I
just put
really
in?
should be more in tune with that, but I'm like, I'm abundant. I have abundance flowing in my life at all times, and it looks all different ways. It doesn't matter what form it comes in. It just is.
It just is, right. The appreciation of that. There's so many different ways to look at it.
Mhm. There's a lot of gratitude, and I feel like when you are grateful, you receive more. Like truly, genuinely, sincerely grateful, right?
Yeah.
The universe has a way of being like, "Oh, you're so grateful. Here you go. Have some more." Yes, please. Thank you.
It is so there is this abundance. Like, you can have abundance of problems and abundance of good stings, or
Yeah, this, that, or the other. Yeah, I mean, it's just different all the way around. Before we take our break and bring on our guest, I just want to remind you all that we are hanging out on live.kgradb.com. We're also hanging out on KGRA Digital Broadcasting, Rumble, Facebook, and X pages. So you can listen to us live on all of those platforms. Really cool. And also go to soulwanderings.com, click on our social media links, and go and like and follow and all of that stuff. It really helps support us, the algorithms, allowing more people to join us here on our show live on Wednesday nights. It's so good. What's your favorite platform?
my favorite platform.
Yeah.
I really don't navigate most of the platforms. So my
Oh, well,
go-to,
I do them all for Soul Wanderings, but for yourself, if you
um,
were listening, where would you hang out with
I
us?
would hang out on Facebook. Well, I would probably go between KGRA, like
Yeah.
like watching it live on KGRA and
Mhm.
or Facebook.
And you
Um,
guys, if you become a member of KGRA, you get a list. you get to not just listen, you actually get to watch like past shows. Like you get to go back and just like binge all of them and learn, grow your brain. Get so much out of it. It's so good. And not only our show, right? The station has like a bunch of other amazing shows. They do such a good job. Bill does, the program director. He does such a good job like bringing on new shows, and there's behind the scenes stuff that you wouldn't see otherwise if you weren't a member. So, and they're always adding more. And then you get on the newsletter platform, which is really cool. So you get even more. It's just, there's all these little perks.
I was surprised. I was on there the other day and it was like, wow, there's a lot of shows on KGRA.
Yes. Yes, there is. But we're glad you're here with us tonight. Thank you very much. When we get back, we will be bringing on our guest for the evening. So stay close. Hello, Anders. Welcome back. Hi, Natalie. Thanks for
Hello.
showing up.
Why, thank you. I'm like, the lighting is just very different at home than in the studio. So I'm like,
Yeah, it's not a studio night, but we're here. So it's all good.
Yes.
So carrying on tonight, Nicole Majik is our guest. Her encounters with the extraordinary occurrences that took place in her life sparked a profound desire within her to assist individuals in reshaping their connections with themselves and others, and ultimately enabling them to attain the level of success they aspire to achieve in their lives. Let's welcome Nicole Majik to the show. Hi.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Oh my goodness, we're so excited to have you. So excited. I've been checking out all the things you do, and I'm like, yes, this is going to be so much fun.
Yay. This will be so much fun.
Well, welcome to Soul Wandering. We're just really happy to have you here. There's so much to learn about you. You've had so many experiences, and with those experiences, you have carried forward and have taught others how to transform their lives and do magical things. Absolutely. So where do we start? Where do we begin? When did your whole life just totally shift and took you in this direction that you are now?
I'm going to say that the biggest shift that took place that created a huge ripple and new trajectory in my life was my near-death experience back in 2006. And it just amplified every piece of me that was intuitive, and just all of the things just sparked into this space, took away a severe depression that I had after not being diagnosed with postpartum. And that just spiraled into a more severe depression. And after that NDE, it was gone and actually replaced with this massive fervor for life and to impact others.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, not the NDE, right? Everyone's like, oh, cool, you had an NDE, but they don't understand, like, most NDEs are very traumatic. That's not the cool part. The aftermath. The aftermath is pretty cool.
I would imagine
after you like figure everything out, just took place. Yeah.
After you die, how is it that you got to like dying?
Some of my friends call me a cat because, they're like, how many lives do you have, Nicole? There's been so many different weird instances of just being divinely protected, I think. And that near-death experience was back in 2006 that kind of changed everything. And it was a little traumatic in the sense that I couldn't wrap my head around what actually happened, because at least at first, and it took many, many years before I actually figured out, or think I figured out what happened, where it was more of a jump, a quantum jump into a different dimension. So I actually died in one dimension and my consciousness jumped into a new dimension and carried forward the information that I gathered, and then was able to bring that to that new dimension, which also changed everything. because stuff was changed in my house even. And memories between me and my kids and my husband at the time were completely different. And I think too that when you carry certain memories from one dimension to another, when you have two completely different memories, they can cancel each other out. So things become very vague, blurred. So it's like I vaguely remember something about that, but I can't actually remember anything about it.
You can't remember the details. It's like fuzzy, kind of blurry in a way.
Yeah, and it was kind of sad in a way that after that NDE, the things that happened when my kids were talking to me and they were reminiscing about different things. Oh, Mom, remember that? And I couldn't remember, and I just would say, no, I don't remember, or I didn't remember like they did. Things were very different in my memory than theirs. And it was upsetting to them because they're like, that's not what happened. And they thought I was kidding. But then they realized, no, I'm not after a little while. And, I had to kind of adapt a little bit and say, what was your favorite part? And, oh, yeah, I liked that too, kind of stuff. And, work my way around it because they were just so young and they wouldn't have understood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's a total new reality for you. It's like the lenses have been taken off.
Yeah, it is. And it was hard enough at the time of escaping, in a way, this experience and flying through the tunnel and then coming out 2.5 miles away from where the incident actually happened and not understanding what was really happening.
Yeah. To give us some clarification, do you feel comfortable kind of sharing like a brief story of what took place that gave you the NDE experience?
We can talk about that. I was working as a chemist at the time. I was on my way home from work. I was late from getting out, so I usually would escape the rush hour traffic, but I hit high rush hour traffic on the Massachusetts Turnpike coming home. During that time, it was the traffic was slowed down to about 30 miles an hour. There was some stuff that was happening, so it was very interesting, the energy of that moment and of that set of minutes that was happening, because it felt static, like before a storm. If anybody knows what that means, when you know,
There's something brewing.
there's something there. And then when I was kind of paying attention to that static energy, there was all these things were going on at once. So we had a car down in the ditch on the right side of the road. Some people were stopped. So people were doing what we call rubbernecking around here, where they're just looking at what's going on, not paying attention to the road. In my car, I was dealing with the traffic. So I actually had Tool Stink Fist song was playing on the radio. So I cranked that up, which didn't allow me to hear the crash that happened on the other side of the highway. And all of a sudden, it was like my head was turned and looking over to the left on the other side of the highway. And I saw this woman. And as I looked at her, I realized that time just slowed down and it was like a frame by frame. And I could see her black curly hair in front of her face, so I couldn't see her face. So she had this beautiful black curly hair. The sun was hitting it in a certain way where I could see these caramel highlights flashing off of her head. I'm sitting there wondering, why is she swaying like that from this impact that I saw on her driver's side door, and the way that she was still in the high speed lane? I was having this whole conversation in my head about why did that happen? Where's this other car? And as I'm asking, where is this other car? Then I felt my attention get diverted to right through my windshield and up. So when I looked through my windshield and up, I didn't see sky. I saw some guy in his car who had crashed into that woman and went up over the Jersey barrier, was about to land in my lap. And when I looked at him, his face was completely contorted, screaming in this frantic manner. And our eyes met for a split second. And during that time, that's when I saw he lands on my lap right where my steering wheel is. His car topples over on top of mine. The roof of my car crashes down on my head, snapping my neck, and I'm dead. And once I got to that point where I'm dead, my consciousness dislocated itself. And I was now somewhere else, basically sitting down having conversations with each one of my kids and the people that were extremely close to me in my family. And I just had these conversations with each and every single one of them. And in the end of it, it was the goodbye. And then after those were all done, I just turned to this presence that was there and said, okay, I'm ready. And at that moment, I was engulfed in this wonderful love vibration, just safe and okay and at peace. And then I just kind of drifted off. Everything went black. Then all of a sudden I'm flying through the tunnel and I see the lights and the geometries and it's all coming at me. But then shortly after that, I mean, I don't even know how long that lasted because there's no sense of what time is in that space. And I came out the other side and I was gasping for this breath, like, holding my steering wheel, and I'm driving and I'm looking around and I basically, as soon as I got that gasp of breath in me, like that was the breath of life. There was like no more room or anything. And I'm looking in front of me saying, oh my God, I almost just died. And I said it out loud. And there's no cars in front of me. And then I looked at my rearview mirror because I'm like, why am I still alive? I'm like, oh my God, I should have been dead. And there's no cars behind me. And then I kind of got silent for a minute and I'm looking around, no cars during rush hour traffic. And I recognized where I was. And I'm looking on the other side of the highway saying, oh my God, am I dead? And then at that moment, I saw this lone car like coming up the highway on the other side. And my joke at that point is like, oh, shoot, am I on the highway to heaven or highway to hell? Which part of the highway am I on here? And it just felt very eerily calm. I don't even think that there was anything on the radio when I came to. And my instinct was, I guess, when in doubt, you call mom. So that's what I did. I called my mom and she answered the phone in this like panic saying, oh my God, Nikki, are you okay? I was just praying for you. I usually pray for you in the morning. And she goes through this whole thing about, what she usually does versus what she was called to do in that moment. And I basically just kind of like shushed her and saying, Mom, just can you shut up or can you be quiet right now? And like, can you just tell me if I'm dead? And she's like, what? No, you're not dead. And I just turned into this thing where I told her what happened. And she told me I rode angel wings. And I was like, or a wormhole or some kind of portal or whatever. That's what it felt like. I described it like I felt like the pinball in a pinball machine when you crank that little lever back and ping right through. So after that, it was that love vibration just wiped clear all that obsessive fantasizing about death and how I could leave this world. So before that happened, I wanted to exit. I did not want to be here. So I really think that in that dimension, I did die. And then my consciousness merged with this version of me in another dimension that I get to still carry out, what my soul purpose is. So, I asked for it. I manifested it. You were talking about manifesting earlier. And yeah, well, we manifest things.
Yeah, we do. I don't know if you really wanted to have it happen that way.
Yeah, right. Just when I came home, one of my kids usually always met me at the door, and I just grabbed that kid and hugged him and was just, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. I had so much love that was bubbling up. I couldn't get rid of it fast enough. There was just, how do I get rid of this? There was so much energy and so much love. And my husband at the time was like, "You're exaggerating with this." And I'm like, no, I
So,
tried to be accurate, and this was just so ineffable.
yeah, you actually drove home.
I drove
Is
home.
that what you're saying?
Yeah.
As if the accident never happened or took place.
Well, and that's the funny thing is, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I had told her about it. A year later to the day, my friend called me up and said, "Hey, I was thinking about you today." And I was like, "Oh yeah, it's like the anniversary date of the weirdness." And she said, "Yeah, but it's going to get weirder because she started a new job. She was sitting at lunch with the people that she worked with, and they were reminiscing about, this accident that happened in Framingham on Massachusetts Turnpike, exactly where I was. And they said how that woman, this guy hit a woman, went up over the Jersey barrier, landed on top of another car, and he and that woman died.
Wow.
Yeah. It was
What?
so weird.
That's just so crazy to wrap your head around.
Like swapping like cars and everything or something. Whoa.
But then, if you add in the fact that I looked at where I was when I came to, because there were no cars around, and I was driving underneath a bridge. So I got the bridge in my memory. And when I mapped it out, I was 2.5 miles away.
Oh my gosh. Like it's okay. Whoa. I, I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm just like, this is crazy because, well, I've listened to a lot of NDE stories. I've had an NDE. None of them have ever said anything about jumping dimensions. This is like nothing I've heard. I've heard that in like um um oh my gosh, I just drew a blank. Like alien contact,
Mm-hmm.
like where they leave and they go dimensionally and things like that, but not experiencers. There we go. Nothing like what you're saying right now. My head is just like, wait, what? This is wild.
Well, this is the part where we're constantly jumping dimensions. We just don't realize it all the time. And if you know what to look for, you'll start to see the signs that you've jumped. Usually, or at least previously, I mean, now things have just amplified, and the timeline is crazy right now. Everything's going so fast. People are waking up and recognizing that we're really changing levels of consciousness here.
Mm-hmm.
And so previously, I think it happened a lot slower. That if you think about having deja vu,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if, say, you jumped dimensions and you just have this one little piece that's overlapping, so you re-experience that, but beyond that, it's a new experience. So you remember it happening before until you get to the end where you've made some decision that changed the trajectory.
Mm-hmm.
So we do this all the time when we manifest. When we manifest something, and first of all, we have to make the commitment to manifest what we want, the commitment to what we want. But then we have to take an action that starts the process. Once we take that action, if that action is big enough to initiate it quickly, you'll jump dimension.
So what you're
I
saying,
believe it.
are you saying that that the manifestation comes because it's an interdimensional shift?
The manifestation comes because, yes, the shift has to come from within first, and then that raises your vibration to match that. So if you need to jump a dimension where the trajectory of what path you were on previously doesn't hold that, you're jumping into the next dimension that plays that out.
That would mean, I mean, that sort of makes sense why some people get so scared.
Yes, it's freaky. So I'll give some examples on the intensity of this, right? So when it happens and it's mild, you may not even know you did it. We do it a lot in our sleep, and when we wake up, I'll wake up sometimes and be like, okay, what reality did I just wake up into, right? Especially if
I feel that all the time. All the time.
You do.
And
I do. I
notice
talk
weird
about it. I'm
things.
like, I don't know if I'm in my body, actually.
Yeah. You'll notice weird things happening. So let's dial up the intensity a little bit. This actually happened last weekend. So my boyfriend and I were laying in bed, and there was like weird stuff that was happening where he kept stopping breathing. And I'm like, breathe. And I kept telling him, breathe. So he was having some heart stuff going on. And there was a point where, usually I'll stay and just tell him, breathe, breathe. Because when his heart is doing, like, he has AFib. So when his heart's going into AFib, we're waiting for the meds to kick in and stuff. And then I'm telling him, breathe, breathe. But there was a weird thing that came over me where I was just drifting off into sleep. So I'm in this in-between state, and then every now and then there's something going on, and I could feel him trembling, and it woke me up. I'm like, breathe, and then I'm slipping back into sleep. And so I kept going in and out of this consciousness state. When I woke up, I was like, oh, I felt the shift. Because when you do it enough times and are aware of it, you can feel it. So especially people who have had NDEs, I think they can feel that much easier because there's a very specific feel when you're coming back from one dimension to another, or more moving dimensions. It has this feeling to me. So when I woke up, I was like, oh, all right, something weird. And all that night, I was flipping through this other dimension and trying to get to him because I didn't belong in this other dimension. And I was having this whole breakdown in that dimension saying, I don't belong here. I need to get back. And I'm going to find my way back if I'm the first person in the universe to figure this freaking thing out, because I don't belong here at all. Like, this is all wrong to me. And then we wake up, and a little bit later, he's like, I don't understand this, but the patch on my pants is on the wrong side. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, this patch, it's on the wrong side. It was always on this other side, the other side. And I'm like, no, it's always been on that side. He's like, I've had these things for like years. I know what side they were on. And I just went, oh, I go, this is a symptom. This is
A symptom.
Yeah, this is a symptom, because things are different. And then the people that are around you are going to say, no, it's not. It's always been like that, because you're the one that jumped that dimension. Whatever you were in, you brought him to this other space. And then we had this whole argument on a movie that I put on. And he said we tried to watch it 3 times at that point. And the other 2 times I changed the channel at this last minute. And like, he kept watching me, like, if I was going to say the same thing and do all this stuff. And I'm like, I've never watched this movie in my life. I've never even used this app. I didn't even know where this app came from on my TV, because I've never watched it. And I'm like, I pulled up the recents. I'm like, there's nothing in the recents. And he's like, this is so weird. We watched a whole series of this other thing on there. And I'm like, no, we didn't.
You're like, it never happened. That's
In
not
this
true.
dimension.
In this
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
So
dimensions are a trip. Go ahead, Natalie.
I was just curious, what do you feel like is the benefit or point of shifting dimensions like that?
I think that's our way of, if we think about who we are and the infinite possibilities, and since everything is always playing out in the present, how else are we going to navigate through all of that stuff except for jumping into a different dimension of where that thing is happening at that time?
So it's like basically forcing us to the place that we're really meant to be.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah, wherever it is that you're choosing.
Okay, so I want to maybe put it, I'm curious, I'm going to put it in some different terms, because I would imagine for some people in the audience, this is too much for my brain to comprehend, and it just challenges my worldview. So I'm tapping out. So I don't want people to tap out. If you're navigating on a road or a freeway, and there's 3 freeways in some cities, 3 or 4 freeways. And so my mind can see it as just simply going from one freeway to another freeway.
Yes.
So it's it doesn't have to be as complex as oh, these dimensions and all this. It's no, you're just navigating to a different road that will take you to another town.
Well, even
Yes.
with the freeway analogy, it could even be like the slow lane to the regular speed lane to the fast lane.
Yeah.
It could just be like I'm shifting lanes, like that simple as well.
That feels easier on my brain. I mean, I haven't had an NDE, so I hear a lot of different stories, hang out with death often on it, but haven't had an NDE. But that makes it easier for my brain to go, oh, we're just changing roads, okay, or lanes on the freeway, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
It actually causes a little bit of existential crisis sometimes when it's hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I was about to say something along those lines, but also we are dimensional beings, right? And we're all just kind of hanging out in the same third dimension area. A lot of us are super uncomfortable. Our souls are super uncomfortable in these bodies. We need to get out of these bodies and go to other dimensions. This is just too dense for a lot of us. And so we'll be forced to be having these experiences that put us in different places.
Yeah, and we do it every night in our sleep. Really?
Everyone, every night. Wow. I'm a traveler at night. So I'm just yeah, let's talk about this. This is good conversation. We're hanging out with Nicole Majik tonight, and there's more to come, an entire hour. So stay close. We'll be right back. Hello, Wonders. Welcome back. I am AJ. And we can't hear Natalie. No, I don't know. Oh,
Now,
kind of in and out. And we're hanging out with Nicole Majik tonight. And she's a dimension traveler, apparently. She's magical. The name matches. So
Yes.
you've had an NDE, you've had other really wild experiences. I say wild because they're not norm, but I think more people have them than we even know because people are afraid to talk about them, right?
Yeah.
But you also have had shared death experiences, and I'm not sure what the blue light room is, but you've also had some other experiences. So all of these have brought you to where you are today. So let's still focus a little bit on what other experiences you've had, and then let's talk about all of the greatness that you're creating from these experiences, so everyone gets to know about what you're doing and how you can assist them and all of that good stuff.
Okay. I can say that after the NDE, everything got amplified with the ability to facilitate healing and the visions and all of that stuff. And with the visions came more of the ET contact. Had some when I was a kid, but after the near-death experience, it was amplified as an adult. So one of the experiences that I had was after I had my fourth child, I went to get a tubal ligation done. And during the prep for that surgery, when they wheeled me in and they started to administer the anesthetic to put me out, I saw this white gold mantis being that I had seen a couple times before that. And that one's always very medical. Like I always called that one the doctor. And when I saw him, I just say him, whatever. I said, "What are you doing here?" Right? And he basically just said, "I'm here to protect you." And then I'm like, "Protect me from what?" But I went out before I got the whole word out. And then when I came to, I woke up and it hadn't worn off yet. So I was still paralyzed. All I could do was hear what was going on. I couldn't move my head. I couldn't move anything. I couldn't open my eyes, nothing. And I could hear there was a nurse that was behind me to my left, and there was another nurse that was coming up on my right, talking to that nurse behind me saying, "What the hell happened in there?" she said. And the other one goes, "Oh, difficult ligation, blood everywhere, or a lot of blood." And then the other one was like, "Oh," she went to go say something. And then I started coming to. So I started coughing because the tube that gets taken out was abrasive. And then I had this shooting pain down my left leg. And I kind of moaned about that, like, "Ow," and reached for my leg. And she said, "Oh, are you in pain?" I said, "Why does my leg hurt so bad?" And then she said to me, "Oh, it's probably just the position that the doctor had you in." So she probably didn't think that I was going to be thinking properly. And I said, "What do you mean position that the doctor had me in? It's a tubal ligation. It's laparoscopic surgery. So there's no need for me to be in any position but laying down." And then she just went and bumped me with the morphine. And then I was out of it again. So I never got that answered.
Like, here, have some drugs. You're asking too many questions.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to know what went on.
Not supposed to know what went on. But and kind of doing some research around those types of surgeries and things like that it's possible that something got nicked, and maybe they did have to have me positioned a certain way so it would clamp off the vessel that may have gotten nicked, So my mantis being guide was there to protect me so I wouldn't die.
You said you had some of these experiences when you were younger. So were they all pretty similar? Did you have any clear abilities as a child that you recall? Like, what were your experiences as a child as far as those experiences go?
So for those experiences, when I was a kid, I could see auras, energy, and spirits. And when I was 5, that was the first time that I crossed anyone over. I was 5, and it was my grandfather. And it was kind of funny because the morning that came after he had passed away, my sister had come in and she's like, "Oh, Pepe Joe died last night." And I was playing with something and I just said, "Yeah, I know." And I went back to what I was doing. And she's like, "What do you mean, you know?" She thought she was, delivering first heard breaking news. And I said, Sheba told me. And Sheba was my aunt's dog, which is my mom's sister, and it's their dad. That was my grandfather that passed away. And so then at that point, when I said that the dog told me, she acted like I was crazy. And then it turned into, Mom, Nikki's lying and making stuff up and all this. But also when I had asked my aunt, where were you that night? Like, what happened that night when you got the phone call? Because it was in the night. And she said, I answered the phone, and my uncle was standing next to her, and the dog was at her feet. And I would telepathically communicate with the dog all of the time. Right. And it was just interesting because when we have these connections, the information just can transfer. I mean, biophotons are biophotons, energy is energy, everything is energy, frequency, vibration, and it travels very quickly. And then, I had felt my grandfather's presence also. And that's, people will show up to me and then I'll cross them over. It just happens. Sometimes I know who it is, and other times I'm not sure who it is until I hear, because I'll go through certain things that I'll know, like how they died, or I'll know something about the situation. And like most of the time I've known, but there are a handful of times that I wasn't sure, and it's just a matter of, okay, we'll wait for the call.
What do you mean cross them over?
So sometimes they'll come and they'll say goodbye, and it's like I walk with them and cross them to the point where then
a shared death experience.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, with several souls, it sounds like.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I used to lay down on my bed. I had a really high twin bed, and when I laid down, my head was right where the window was, and I'd watch up in the sky, and I used to call it watching the stars dance. Yeah, it wasn't stars dancing, but it was definitely quite the light show. And I would feel like I was communicating with family up there. And, I used to pretty much ask, like, why do I have to be here? Why am I here? And why do I have to be here? And I don't really belong here. Didn't really belong in the family that I was in, because I was just the weirdo.
The $1 million question, right? Why am I here?
Yeah.
And some of us just have this longing to not be here, like I'm one of those people. I'm really uncomfortable being a human. Like, I'm so over this. And it's not just because being a human is hard, but it's just very heavy and dense. And I've just had that experience throughout my whole life. But when you're kids, they're like crazy kids and their wild imaginations. What do they know? Yet we're like playing with the fairies and, all the other beings from other star nations and our loved ones who have passed, even ones we never met in this life. But we're just kids. What do you know?
I used to play with the old lady of the house, because in the house that I grew up in, it was pretty old, and it used to be an old farmhouse, and it actually got separated when the woman who owned it passed away in the house. And her kids fought over the house, and they actually cut the house in half and moved half of the house up the street. So they each took half of the house.
Oh,
and
wow. That's a radical solution to that sort of problem.
Yeah, it's so weird. And I used to play with her in the attic. That was like my little place. I used to play up in the attic.
Addicts have like this energy anyway, right? People are either like really afraid or they're really connected. I don't know what it is about addicts, but there's something about them. For sure.
Definitely.
So before your experiences, mostly your NDE, where you said that's where a lot of things shifted for you, you were really depressed, going through postpartum depression, wanting an exit, even planning exit strategies. You had this NDE and this really incredible experience, and then several after. How did that lead you to what you're doing now? Like, how did those change you to be who you are today and doing what you do?
It was like this force that I couldn't stop moving forward in, if that makes any sense. Um, the visions that I had were intense and very frequent. And then, so I just was drawn into a lot of energy work. I was shown different things. Like my Arcturian friends showed me what to do with the energy. And I can't explain how I work it, but I can say I work through the torsion field of energy and quantum physics. And so I'll see things in people and I would just say, oh God, like there's something in there. Like, can I get it out? And can I touch you? Or can I put my hands near you? And I just was playing with things because people would say, oh my God. And even my sister, I had gone up to her and I said, well, what do you have, a headache? And I touched her head and she goes, what the heck? Like, as soon as I touched her head, it was gone. And like just things would like come out of people's bodies and just dissolve before it hit my hand. So it was just this rapid fire of things that just kept me in that space of wanting to learn more, wanting to understand more, and wanting to see, well, what else can we do here? Because this is just wild and awesome. There's a really good story about this woman that came in. I was setting up to do aura readings at a shop. And this woman came in and was talking to the owner about how she couldn't get near her nephew. He would cry, scream and cry after looking at her. And so she could never bond with this kid. So I looked at her and I saw it. I saw the energy of what he was seeing. And I went over to her and I asked her if I could do something about it because I could see the energy of what it was. And I'm like, it's pretty intense. I couldn't tell her what I saw because she was with a little girl. And but what I did see was this brutal, like it was brutal and abusive and very violent and very sexual and like so much stuff going on. And it was like a past life energy that looked like a static energy over her shoulder. And I told her, over that shoulder, you have the static energy from this past life, and it just needs to be cleared out. And I can do that if she wanted me to. And she's like, oh my God, that's where he looks, exactly in that direction. And then he starts screaming bloody murder. I'm like, well, pretty much that's pretty much what it is. And so she let me do it, and it only took a few minutes. And I said, you might feel something and you might not feel anything right now. And she's like, well, I don't feel anything. I said, that's okay. It's not a big deal if you do or you don't. And then she said, well, how will I know that it worked? And I kind of laughed a little and was like, oh,
Go hang out with your nephew.
Right.
Without a doubt, you'll know. And then 2 days later, I got a call from the shop owner saying that her sister had come in and said, told her the story of she brought her son there and they were without a hitch, didn't cry once. She picked him up. They spent the entire day together, had such a beautiful time, all smiles, bonding, the whole 9 yards. And I was like, oh, see, that's the stuff. And I was so glad that I could hear about it. Love celebrating the wins.
Yeah.
Because hearing that, like, just meant so much. And not that I needed a confirmation. I could have gone without it, but it's just such a beautiful thing that it was that profound of a difference that just this 3 or 4 minutes of working on somebody did.
And it keeps you going. I think I see after I do energy healing or aura readings, I get so hyped, not even knowing if it's validated, right? Just knowing that I spent the time with these people sharing these experiences. And I'm just like happy and dance. Ask Natalie, she knows. I get giddy. I love being able to help people. But when they come back or call or whatever and say, you will not believe what happened, it's like tenfold. It's the best feeling to be able to help other people that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't matter in what capacity, whether it's the energy healings or, taking the class on manifestation where somebody is like, $1 and something turned into, like $100,000 kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, that's it. That's the stuff.
Yeah.
And the aura readings, every time. I mean, I've been doing aura readings I'm going on 16 years of doing aura readings professionally. And it's just every single time that I do it, it's just sometimes I'll sit there, I'll be like, "Yee!" inside of myself, just creating the graphic for them and doing all the stuff. And it's so cool.
Yeah. It's so neat that you've gone through these really challenging experiences and then this is your reward, right? Like, you know what your purpose is, you know what your passions are, and you're living them. You tuned in and listened, and now you get to live them. And that is just, I feel like that's like big part of what life is all about.
It is. And it's so fun to be able to tell the stories and see the different ways in which people can connect connect with the story, whether it was, I was so depressed too. And, how do I get out of that? And, I had this mantra that I'd fantasize about the death and then say, I have these kids, they need me, just hold on a little longer. And I lived my life like that for over a year before that happened, of just every day, all day long, just hold on a little longer, just a little longer, just a little longer. And it worked. But then, going through all that stuff and finding a way to help people switch how they feel in an instant is just everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. Out of all the things that you do now, what are you most passionate about? What do you love doing the most?
Ooh, that's a tough one, girl.
How do you choose?
How do you choose? I love the sessions because I get to meet a lot of people. So I do a lot of one-on-one sessions that way, whether it's aura or energy work or transformational work. But I do love bringing people through whole programs and working through the limiting beliefs and seeing major transformations and really showing people how to take control of their life and do it for themselves and not have to rely on somebody else all the time to do something for them and just seeing those shifts. And it's a very strategic process that I use that I had to figure out, and it works.
So it's a process that you created yourself?
Yeah, that's my Alchemy of Transformation.
Well, tell us a little bit about that.
All right. So I have different types of programs depending on where people are at. But there are very foundational pieces to it because if you don't know where you're going and you don't know how to get there, you're never getting or going anywhere. So I show people how to really define what they truly want. So defining your desire, how to align it with your soul purpose and your values, and then create the action plan to get there and how to manifest it. And, if you have to do a little jumping to get there, well, then you do a little slight jumping to get there. That doesn't rock your boat.
Nothing too life altering where it just brings you back into your box.
Right. We're really showing people how to manifest what they truly desire while dissolving the limiting beliefs that have held them back. And people don't realize it, but there's some things that are so subconscious under there that that's when you need somebody else. So while I'm doing that work, I'm also showing them how to consciously access the things that they can eliminate on their own. And so we're tackling it from multiple angles because that's how my brain works.
Is this you do it one-on-one, like you said, but is this something you do like in event settings or group settings as well?
Yeah, I do some events. I do group training, coaching. I have a program that's about to run in February, so it starts on the 7th. I only have 2 spots open for that right now, and that's really the foundations. It's called the Breakthrough Blueprint Program.
Awesome. And we'll make sure everyone has your information. Our producer, Bill, has been on the platform sharing all of your links.
Oh,
Thank you, Bill. And here on, I'm sure you saw the little banner that came across. We'll make sure everyone also hears it by the end of the show. So make sure you grab your pen or your phone or whatever it is that you need to document. There it is. There, he's on it. That means he's listening. Yay.
He's tuned in. So I have a question. Is my mic working better now?
Yes.
That's good. I have a question for you. Do you feel like, so I heard you say that you were working as a chemist, and do you feel like that practical knowledge that you gained through the study of chemistry actually has helped you in the alchemy on the energy side? I guess that's how you would describe your alchemy.
Absolutely. I was always interested in chemistry. Since I was a kid, I used to beg my mom for these like chemistry kits that they used to have. And they used to have these kits that they shouldn't have had certain things together in those kits, but they did. And super, super fun. And so, yeah, the information as a biologist, a chemist, I worked in cell culture for a while. So Dr. Bruce Lipton's stuff really hit home to me with working with cells and seeing that the influence that you can have over living cells. I saw that when I was in there. So the biology of belief is definitely a really cool one. If you like the science-minded things, I did get a master's in metaphysics as well. So I loved always bringing together the science and the spiritual through that quantum physics because it's all science. And we're seeing more and more and more that these spiritual type things that have been labeled more spiritual side are really science, and the science of it keeps coming forward.
So if you're having the master's degree program in metaphysics, what's the courseware? What do they study in that curriculum?
There's, depending on which track that you take, there can be different things that you can access, but it's a lot of the energy, whether it's, learning about chi energy and meditation, different cultural type, religious and theosophies, just really understanding different types. Yoga is one. Learning, there's a lot of background stuff with a lot of the energy work and really going into that, and then also learning how to create your own practice and the ethics that go with that and things like that,
Oh, that's a profound thing, the ethics of metaphysical.
I was going to say, I feel like every energy practitioner needs to take some course like what you're talking about. Get a degree of some. They're just such a mod podge, a mix of so many different people who play in these realms, and not all of them are clean.
I agree, especially when you can see energy. It's the realm is a little weird sometimes, where I stay out of the judgment space, right? So I hold this space that people can come in and it's safe and you're accepted and you belong here, because it's a place for you to be authentic and real and raw and get to know yourself. So somebody's got to be able to hold that space for you in a loving, compassionate, non-judgmental way. And what I see a lot is a lot of people in their ego space, like a lot of times when I was growing up in that side of things and learning after the NDE, I noticed that there were a lot of people that were like, well, I've been doing Reiki for 30 years. Like that's that's
Something.
the metal. Like that's something. And I'm sitting there saying, but you can't clear your own energy and raise your own energy, and you're always sick and a mess and
Yeah.
chaos and that energy, and it was just craziness. And it's not that somebody can't do that work on somebody else, but to be able to do more rapid transformations in a much more profound way, you've got to be able to hold this higher intensity of a vibration. So you're only going to be able to bring people up into a space that you can hold. So it's really important for me to be able to hold that really high vibrational space. And sometimes people try to sell me things to help my my
Help you.
immune support. My immune support. I'm like, I'm never sick. Like, I don't get sick. I can count on my two hands how many times I've been sick in my life. So it's energy, and if you hold it, and even if I feel like there's been a lot of energy and I feel a little depleted, if I feel like there might be something that's kind of like pulling me in that direction that I could become sick, I just work the energy and I go to bed working the energy. And in the morning, I'm like spring loaded and ready to go.
All you need is rest, right?
Yeah.
It really is the best medicine.
Rest and increase that energy flow. Get those blocks out.
I'm going to work on that a little bit. That's what I feel like is a good challenge for me. It's like, okay, maybe I'm depleting my energy just a little bit.
Move your body.
Yeah, movement is so good. So good. Get it all that energy right out of you.
Yeah.
See, the answers just come. That's a good thing to know.
I kind of want to backtrack a little bit, Nicole. You brought up ET contact.
Yes.
What are your experiences?
The experiences are pretty interesting because they were scattered throughout my entire life. So when I was young, I used to watch for, the stars dancing and all of that. And I'd watch it. They'd be in one specific, like a particular spot, and the lights would be moving around, not how stars would be and not how an airplane would be or anything like that. And it was so far away, it wouldn't ever be an airplane. So there's that stuff. And I know that when I was really young and I'd play in the backyard, I would be, by myself, but my friends would show me things like I would do. It was like missions, and I'd be put to the test and have to figure out like weird light things. And so it was kind of like that stuff when I was young. And then when I got older, like the blue light room thing was something weird. I would go out in the night astrally, and I would go. I remembered being on ships. Sometimes it was I could hear things or understand things, but couldn't see everything. And I have not shared this before, Because it's like one of those weird things that it stuck with
You're
me.
in good company.
Yeah.
We like weird things.
So I don't know if my eggs were harvested for different things before, but I remembered at one point the impression or hearing. So like telepathic communication is like hearing and an impression, right? Hearing and impression. And I just remembered hearing like she's a good breeder.
Oh,
I'm like,
There's a lot to be said for the things that you remember, right? Because they don't want us to remember, but
yeah.
some of us do. Some of us remember little blips and pieces. And I don't think we're all crazy. I think there's truth to all things.
Well, I remember I have really good memories of back even when I was months old. One of my friends is a videographer who does documentaries, and he was doing documentary on the town that one of the towns that we grew up in, the smaller part of a town, and the mills in the town. One of the mills had burned down. My grandmother used to work at that mill. And I remember being brought in there, and I remember the smell, the grease from the spools. I remember the spools of the textiles. I remember the sounds. I remember the women with their little, do-rags on, or, however they used to wear them with the little tie on that, and, keeping their hair out of their way, because you definitely don't want your hair getting caught in those spools, smoking their cigarettes, and just all of the things, and them talking to each other. But obviously I didn't know what they were saying because I didn't understand language at a couple months old.
Yeah.
But when I was recollecting the memory, when we were having a conversation about his documentary, I was like, oh yeah, the smell. And I was going through all of the things of what I could smell and hear and see. And he's like, Nicole, you weren't even 6 months old when that could have happened. And I'm like, yeah, but I remember it like
That's
clear.
so cool.
And he was just
Probably a dimension thing also, right?
could
I'm
be.
serious. Like maybe it's an older version of yourself that was in your baby self remembering these things. I don't know. Anything's possible. I have one question from a listener, and then we're going to have our producer actually come and join us here on the show for the last little bit of the show.
Okay.
But the question from the listener, he just wanted to know if you've seen Everything Everywhere All the Time. I don't even know what that is, but
If I
the
see
movie.
everything from
no,
everywhere.
it's in the movie.
It's a
Or I
movie.
guess it's a show.
No,
Yeah.
it's a movie. Everywhere. Yeah.
Everything Everywhere All the Time.
No, I haven't seen that one. Interstellar
Okay.
was a huge one for me that like clicked a lot of things together after the NDE, because I thought I might have had a walk-in experience, but things didn't make quite sense, so I never really fully embraced it. And then when I saw Interstellar, it was like some download unlocked in that moment at the end of that movie, that I was like, oh my God, I understand everything. Like everything makes sense now. And even when
Wow.
I would ask questions, I'd immediately get the answer that made sense. So I'll have to check that movie out. So thank you, whoever gave
Yeah.
that.
We have some awesome listeners. Bill, why don't you come and join us? By the way, he's saying you need to see it. You need to see it.
Okay.
Hi, Nicole.
Maybe I'll see if I can find it and watch it tonight. Hi.
My question is, because a lot of people in the field of ufology, there's a lot of people that have experiences that claim that it's not just them, it runs in their family, whether it's their parents or siblings or even your children. Has any of this happened in your case?
Yeah, something really cool. My dad and I used to see the UFOs in the sky, So I remember it very clearly. That was me and my dad. And I've always known that me and my dad have a very special connection cosmically. And me and my dad has the same kind of dreams and visions. And I will have and have had dreams that my dream would end and my son's dream would pick up where mine left off, and vice versa. There was one night that myself and two of my sons had the same dream from each of our different perspectives. So when we talked about it, we got this huge roundabout, like full picture on some things. And one was like this really weird being that was involved in that. I've had a lot of beings that just came forward. So there's definitely a lot of different things with my kids. My daughter, oh God, my daughter, she's probably the most profound one. There was one time where I got brought up to be a medium at a home in like Winchendon. And then so that's kind of a ways from my house. It's a pretty decent drive. And I came back and I lost my glasses. So my glasses got left up there somewhere because I wasn't even in my car to go up there. And then I was there and I don't know if my glasses fell out of the car or what, or I left them inside the house because I usually don't wear them to do the mediumship. It helps for me to not have super clear vision. And then when I got home, I was like, oh, I really need these glasses. They were brand new glasses. So they were like, brand new $1,000 glasses. I'm sitting there like, I really need these things. And my daughter was maybe about, I don't know, 4, 5 at the time. And she had this super connection. And especially she would talk to Jesus. And it was just really interesting, this connection that she had. So I was moving boxes in and out of the house and like moving them from the basement and getting rid of some stuff. And so I was going in and out of the house. And I said to her, hey, do you think that you can help me out? Mom really needs her glasses. So I need them to come back home. And she said, yeah, sure. And she went like this. All done. And she went about her business. And I was like, all right. And I just left it at that. And sure enough, I went to go bring a box out the door. And as I opened the door where I had been going in and out, in and out, in and out, I almost stepped on my glasses.
Wow.
And not only that, but so this was in the porch that was all shaded in, and they were the transition lenses. So they were all shaded out, like polarized, like it had gone through the light. And I was like, what the heck? Like, that was pretty wild.
The reason also I asked, because a lot of people some people have experiences and some people don't. Now, there could be numerous explanations if they're more open to things around them, their surroundings. But could it also be that the attraction to you and your children and other family members could be because you have this innate ability that's within you, and that draws them to individuals like yourself?
Yeah, I think there could be several different things on what that means and like what the attraction is or what the resonance is. And I think maybe there is some kind of resonance with a few different things where what is your sole purpose, right? Some people were meant to impact other people. Some people were meant to hold space. So like prayer warriors, aren't the ones that are out there leading people. They're the ones holding that space to bring vibration up, right? Those types. And then, so there are different roles that people are in. And so some roles may be more ambassadorish, where you need to have that communication or need to have that interaction to get the information that you need to keep going, or downloads, whatever. I call them downloads. There's a huge downloads that I've seen and felt that they unlock when the time comes. And then all this flood of information comes out, and I'm like, where's this coming from? Yeah, right. So it gets a little bit wild sometimes, but it's like, it's right on. Another part of it is what types of ETs we're related to, I guess you could say. Maybe our DNA has some of these ETs that we're interacting with. So, and those are the ones that are needing to be interacting more to get things in motion. I don't know. I'm not claiming to know what it is, but I've kind of felt that way sometimes, where there have been times where I've interacted with certain types of beings, and then all of a sudden that stops for years and years and years. And then it's some other beings that are coming into play. So who knows what it is? As the evolution happens and the ascension is happening, there's things that are happening at a much more rapid rate. And people need to experience some wild stuff, because you also have to know, like, I used to think that my life was so boring when I was a kid, like nothing ever happens to me. And then I look back and I'm like, holy freaking, blah, blah, blahs. There's a lot of stuff that has happened to me. And it allows me to be able to relate with people, and also help people who are freaking out sometimes on things to be super calm. I have people that try to rile me up or frighten me with all kinds of things, or hide on me and jump out at me or whatever. And I'm just like, yeah, hey, and just moving on, and just being in this space of like, things don't rattle me emotionally like that.
One more thing before I bail out, because I don't want to take the time from AJ and Natalie.
Oh, you're asking great questions. I love it.
But you mentioned breeding.
Yeah.
Has anything occurred in your dreams or through a meditative state where you might think that maybe there's some type of a star child out there of yours, like a hybridization program that you were part of? Because you mentioned about breeding.
Yeah, it was such a weird thing that I remember also. So around that time that I remembered hearing that, like, she's a good breeder, was there was a time where I was seeing from a perception of, I was on the table and there were all these white light beings around me. All I could see was like just light. But I was also seeing it from the corner, or what could be considered the corner of the room, and seeing myself. So it was a very weird ability to see myself laying there, but seeing myself from the corner of the room, and then also being, my body being in my bed during the night. But yeah, it's just, I think there is different hybridization programs that have always maybe been the great experiment, and whatever that means, with whatever's out there of mine, I don't know, but there's probably more than one.
Do you think it's a possibility we could all be hybrids at this point?
Yeah. And I do think that with the hybrids and with the jumping and all that stuff, this is why we have the Mandela effect, right? Because we've got all these different memories that are clashing and competing and all this stuff that people remember different things from different dimensions.
Past lives, who knows?
Mhm.
Exactly. Yes.
True.
Well, it was a pleasure to take a little time to speak with me. Thank you, AJ and Natalie.
Thank you, Bill.
Pleasure's
You're
You're
mine.
always welcome to come hang out with us.
It was a pleasure. Everyone enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you.
It was fun. Those
He
were
always
great.
has really good questions. But
Yeah.
I mean, he kind of does this all the days. Yeah, I just think it's interesting. Like, I love what you're doing now, and I don't want to take away from that because I definitely want you to have that spotlight where everyone is aware and they can get in touch with you for what you offer. But we love talking about experiences here. That's what the show's all about, is like our human journey and like really getting to know you and what you've experienced. So first of all, thank you for being so authentic and sharing. I know sometimes it can feel scary because you don't know how you'll be received, but you're in good company here. We really appreciate you having the courage to just share what you've been through and just know that you're being supported in that way.
Thank you. And I think I kind of got over all the judgments that people might have.
Mhm.
A long time ago. The work that I do also gets you to really understand yourself at that level, that when you understand yourself to these deep, dark, and beautiful, bright light levels, because we're everything, we're all encompassing, the light and the dark, and there's not any good or bad. It's like everything when you look at it. So it's all relative. But when you understand yourself at those deep, deep levels, you understand everybody else. So judgment doesn't even really can't really exist much. I mean, we do have these 3D bodies that, we do have initial judgments, but then if you're conscious of it, you get to work through those things too very quickly. So it's like it's almost doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So I've come to I think it's sort of an understanding that our bodies are spaceships. So we are riding around in these spaceships. And a lot of times we don't think about that. Like objects moving through space, our bodies are spaceships. And so in some ways, that may relax some of that difficulty of being in a 3D form. I know AJ does that, has that. And it's like, but it's your spaceship and you need it here on this planet because it breathes this oxygen and this landscape. And so that's a fun way to look at it, which is different than a body. And spaceships need maintenance. They need to be fueled and all that kind of stuff, and cleaned and car washed, that kind of stuff. It's kind of a different way to think about energy work.
Get in your Earth vehicle.
That's right.
I want an upgrade. This one's
Like,
getting pretty worn out. The older I get, I'm like, really? Now we have to do this?
Mileage, it's really a thing.
Need the all-terrain vehicle.
It's so much fun, though.
Yeah.
Well, we have about, I don't know, we have about 5-6 minutes. So
Okay.
I like to ask people randomly, like, that can feel energy and see energy. This year, we were talking about how it feels really, it feels like a lot of things. We were talking about before the show. Before I say what we think, what do you feel this year is going to be like for us as human beings?
Ooh.
Yeah.
This year is going to be some intense stuff. And I think that more and more people are going to have these jumps and start becoming aware of the weirdness of it, that we were talking earlier about the different memories. So it's going to rock some people's worlds. However, this is necessary because we've got to get through some of those existential crises in order to fully understand, okay, this is okay, and this is what's happening, and it's natural. But some people have to get through some little breakages in there what they think life is. So what you think is reality is not. It's not. It just isn't. So that's what's going to be coming to light, is that your reality isn't what you thought it was. And that's going to rock some worlds. So the people that know it and the people that have had near-death experiences, they've already been through all of that and the weird stuff that happens and the existential crisis and then the surrendering and the acceptance of it. So we're going to be holding that space. So
Yeah.
you got people on your side. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Next year is going to be some pretty wild stuff.
More wild than this year, do you predict?
Yes, I think this is the prep year. And
Oh,
when I had my near-death experience in June during my surgery, that was the shared one with like 7 other people. I got huge downloads and I could see certain things. And when I saw November to February, I saw this intense period, November to February, and I could feel it and I sensed it. So if you think about what you were experiencing between November and next month, there was an individual aspect of it because our individual makes the collective. So we are all experiencing these in our own specific ways, creating that collective experience. So it was pretty intense. There was a lot of lack of motivation, like what the heck am I doing, and bumbling around a little bit and really like fighting to be in a space. Like a lot of people were resisting the resistance instead of surrendering. And just feeling this amplification of this chaotic energy. But it's going to settle for a short period of time before it spikes again. That's how I feel.
Well, thank you for sharing. I do feel like this year is the year I was saying before you jumped on. It's like our cleanup year.
Yeah.
Like either get with the program or bye-bye.
Close out what you
You're
need
going to
close
get
out.
left behind. Yeah. Isn't that wild?
Yeah. So
share with us your social, your website, all of that good stuff, so we know where to get in touch with you.
So if you look me up, it's usually either Nicole Majik or Majik LLC on all the different platforms, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, all that stuff.
And you spell Majik Majik.
Yes, that's my last name. Mm-hmm.
That's so good.
That's
Any
a cool
final?
last name.
It is. It really is cool. Any final like words of advice, inspiration, or anything you'd like to leave us with tonight? We have about 2 more minutes.
Well, I'll just say this, is that you are exactly where you need to be right now. And if you figure out where you want to be, you can go there. So just be prepared, because things are going to rapidly change anyway. So you may as well decide where you're going. And if you need some help, just reach out to anybody who you connect with that can hold that space for you.
Oh my gosh, yes. There's so many people who are willing to help, and you're one of them. So
Yes.
Beautiful. I think that's the thing, is like people just don't know. Like I think it was today I made a post like, pick a side. It doesn't matter what you're doing, just pick a side. Like stop be going like, I don't know. Like I don't know does nothing. There's no movement in I don't know. And there's so much of that going on. Like at least be like, let me think about that. Let me process that. But I don't know. Really? You don't know? Like make a decision.
Else make that decision for you, which is sad.
Well, we'll send them some extra.
Be like,
Nicole, go ahead, Natalie.
You've got to be in your own framework and like put your skin in the game. And I think that's what picking the side is, and deciding where you're going to go, and just, it's better than doing nothing.
Yeah, definitely. It has been so fun getting to know you, and you're so authentic. I really appreciate that. And I hope our paths cross again, because you are your last name. You are definitely Majik. And I'd love to see what you do in the future.
Awesome. I'd love to stay in touch. You guys are awesome, and you're doing great work getting all of this information out to the masses. So thank you.
We do what we can.
Right.
But it's a teamwork effort.
Makes the dream work.
That's my favorite. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yes, it
Mhm.
does.
All right, Wanderers, thank you for being here with us tonight. We're so grateful for each and every one of you. Until next week, be good to yourself and be good to each other. Good night.
Have a good one.